Hey, I'm Ashley Smith. The purpose of this video is to do an informative speech for an assignment for Introductions to Communication. I'm a freshman student at Post University. The topic that I chose was technical communication. However, I am not an expert, but I'm going to try to do the best I can to do a kind of a brief example of to help you identify why or help you identify characteristics that give an informative speech its name, or that define informative speech, and the requirements, the technical communication that require an expert to actually do the informative speech. Okay, I chose two areas, which are, or one particular, and then two subtopics under this one topic to emphasize. Topic that I chose was principles of communication, active listening, and um, handwriting. Those are in handwriting analysis. Those are two. One is they're both fields of study. Active listening is would be more along a speech therapist. Those two in particular, when I've considered two areas, a normal hearing person, or types of communication, two different types of communication processes, considering psychological and audio, um, speech, and neuropsychological effects. Um, Handwriting analysis, there are two techniques that are used in personal identification and communication, one being handwriting analysis, which is also a field of study, and active listening. Handwriting analysis is used to study the handwriting, someone's handwriting, in order to establish a truth about someone and personal characteristics. And active listening would also be the same. You can establish personal identities about someone, whether they are hearing impaired or they are a normal hearing person. Um, the concept is personal identification. Um, Handwriting analysis, like I said, the measures of a handwriting analysis are very similar to that of a polygraph. It's another process that is establishing or seeking a truth. It Handwriting, when a hearing impaired as well as hearing person can determine a conflict, interpersonal conflict, challenges that we may be having. It also, the effects, it could affect our decision making. If there's any miscommunication between or by an assumption made that you are a normal hearing person and you're not. Um, it's pretty effortless when communicating with a non-hearing person, as far as audio communication or media communication. Um, However, with a non-hearing person, even though, like with a hearing person, it could very well be the same. Um, like me going before an audience, I would experience the same effects or the same characteristics at times as the normal characteristics of someone that suffers from hearing loss or that is hearing impaired. One being conversational hypnosis, which is a normal feeling when you step out to give an informative speech in front of people for the very first time and you're not experienced um, interpersonally, you don't have the experience that you really needed to take control those over the effects of public speaking anxiety. Um, we have to be careful not to confuse and to be very conscious when analyzing in these two fields as far as the technicality of personal identification, because psychologically, when someone is suffers from hearing loss versus someone that is hearing, a miscommunication of information about that person could psychologically and it could affect them psychologically, from not considering or from assuming that they can hear just fine. Two characteristics when doing or when analyzing a person or assessing a person for audio speech perceptions. It goes both ways, receptor and receiver, or communicator and receiver. Um, is a normal hearing person typically will make good eye contact, whereas someone that suffers from hearing loss will typically focus on your mouth. Um, when people, another characteristic, like I said, that we have, that's it makes it a little bit more challenging to determine a personal characteristic about someone is by we a normal hearing person actively exercises from a conscious to an unconscious mind daily. So conversational hypnosis is a very good. That is a very If you use conversational hypnosis when doing assessing a hearing impaired person, their mind as far as communication is not as active as ours, so they stay either in within an unconscious or conscious mind. So we have to be careful what information that we convey as far as that. Anybody that is in a state of mind, an unconscious state of mind, we want to make sure that they are only receiving positive communication that's going to affect that when they, you know, come to a conscious mind, that's not going to affect their physical performance as a result. Within a conscious mind, if we are receiving negative information, then it affects our body language, the way we present ourselves. It affects our behaviors, and later when we actually come back to a conscious mind. Um, the Okay, so um, handwriting analysis, like I said, this is just kind of sum it up. Um, Personal identity is a technical communication, is a good um, process to consider when establishing personal identities about someone or truth. I'm a stickler for honesty. So, our neuropsychological responses are things such as our physical, they affect things such as our physical body languages. If we tell a lie, a lot of times the way we interact in the world or within society is um, tells a story about us as well. So, in concluding, um, the whole purpose, another technical part of analysis is be sure to always carefully analyze and assess for two areas. When um, trying to find a truth about someone, make sure you don't get technical communication is used to clarify any misunderstanding or any miscommunication. It is, like I said, it can tell down to the core part of the of a process or operation of communication, how that core part works, on up to actually me receiving the information and you doing the same. um, it That's it. Thank you. This was for an introductions to communication, and I hope you kind of were able to see why they call it I've got a video on YouTube if you want to check it out. Did a 45-minute speech versus pinpointing two specific areas to kind of pinpoint on or concentrate on to give you somewhat of an idea for comparison and effects. And um, an expert would have a conclusion, whereas a student would have a summary. So it would be a more lengthy speech versus a very short, cut and dry. Good luck.